So as a consultant, I think I was already doing mediation without me even calling it mediation. And when I was teaching nonviolent communication, I also saw that when people started practicing acting as a third party, they really needed to develop their own skills of communication. And then thirdly, I saw this moment of when people connect, there's such a hope in both the mediator, but also the people being mediated, and that hope is always a lot of fun to see.
So the way you teach mediation, what is your hopes that people will benefit from it?
Well, there are many things I see people benefit from the mediation training. One is to be able to mediate conflict, of course, that are in their families, workplaces, or any other situation. And it's also clear to me that most people have internal conflicts about choices, what to do and how to handle the situation. And mediation skills can, of course, be used for that as well.
So it's only for like inner personal development, how to have a better personal life?
Yeah, I'm saying that it's also, I can use it for that, but also I can use it for everything from the family to a global perspective. Where conflicts arise, I can use the same kind of mediation skills, listening, try to help them hear each other.
So I know you've been to war zones like Sri Lanka, and you've been into political conflicts like in Thailand and other places. This kind of mediation, does it work in those kind of situations as well?
Yeah, I see it works actually the very same way as long as there are human beings involved. So I actually find it really helpful that mediation can work both in a very large perspective or a political perspective and in a family or business setting, because it is the same things that is building up into a conflict that we can deal with in a mediation.
So are you saying that big global conflicts have similarities than when we argue with our kids?
Yeah, I would say so.
So what is it then?
Well, one is that I think we're mistaking the needs that is behind an action and the very action. So we have mistaken that we only have one choice. So I try to force you into making what I think is the best choice, without checking how that is for you and what consequences that will have for you. And if we manage to actually see that both parties' needs can be met with some other strategy that we didn't even think of before, I see it's the same. It's the same whether it's in a family or internally or between two ethnic groups.
So what do you see is important for a mediator to learn or to be able to help people resolve conflicts in a good way?
There are a number of things that I think a mediator can work on developing. One is to always hear whatever is being said as an expression of a need, of an unmet need, usually if it's a conflict. And to hear beyond criticism, blame, guilt, and also then to help the parties to hear the needs that this person is wanting to have met, with actually judging, criticizing, even threatening the other. So that is one thing.
It sounds good, but how do you do this? How do you, when you train people, how do you help them do all these kind of fantastic things?
Well, the thing is that it's a very practical way. We actually practice on people blaming, like setting up a role play where somebody's blaming somebody else or judging them. And then we practice like very step by step, hearing what's important in this person's message. And we use the symbol of a hand. So we
In your book, A Helping Hand, you talk about this mediation hand. What's that?
The mediation hand is a very helpful way of putting the different skills into practice. So we have listening, we have helping the parties hear each other, we have interrupting with respect, we have first aid empathy, like when it's really tough, when they're not able to hear each other, and we have self-empathy, like the process of the mediator listening to himself or herself to be able to stay in the process, and then to do what we put in the middle of the hand. We have tracking, and we need to have all these other skills to be able to track where the conflict is.
So that's like the toolbox for the mediator.
Yeah, and you can make that more into more pieces, but that's the main toolbox.
You have, during the recent years, also focused on anger, shame, and guilt. Could you say something more about that?
Yes, shame is one of the things that I found really, really helpful in exploring as a person, but also as a mediator. As I see, shame is ruling people's lives. It is people are making choices that they would not do if they wouldn't feel shame. I see people run away from the shame and the anger and the guilt instead of making a free choice of how they want to live. So actually shame that makes the decisions and not you, and you will never be happy in that way. So shame is also very often there in a mediation situation. People are very often feeling shame when there's a conflict or when something happened that led to disconnection. So in knowing shame is crucial for being a mediator, I think.
So sounds like maybe it's the shame that is the problem, not the conflict in itself.
Yeah, I would say that. I would say that shame is a bigger problem than a conflict. Conflict is a natural thing. Shame has a natural core, but the way it's being lived out in the world, in our lives, it's not helpful anymore. It's stopping us from live our full potential. It's stopping us from have deep connection. It's stopping us from having empathy and care for each other. And it's not the shame in itself, but the way we have approached shame or the way we deal with it, that is the problem.